One offhand remark about Pam Bondi during a heated debate sent shockwaves through the media. By morning, he was out of a job. It was supposed to be just another night of lively debate. The cameras rolled, the stage lights burned hot, and the audience both in the studio and at home braced for another round of verbal fireworks. Elliot Graves had made a career out of being bold and filtered, unapologetic, was the kind of host who didn't just challenge Gachet dissected banana, my arm his words, sharp as glass cut, threw political spin like a surgeon's scalpel. Whether you loved him or hated him, you watched that night. The discussion had started off routine. The segment was about corporate influence in politics, and evergreen topic guaranteed to stir the pot. Elliot had two guests, a political strategist named Brian Colton, and a conservative commentator, Madison Rourke. The three of them sat under the bright studio lights, the polished wooden desk between them gleaming under the cameras. Elliot leaned in, his tone laced with skepticism. Pam Bondi. Let's talk about her. She spent her entire career serving the powerful, prosecuting the powerless. Then suddenly she lands a job with who else? Donald Trump. Tell me, Brian, what's that, if not a perfect example of political favoritism? Brian adjusted his tie, clearly prepared for this line of attack. Elliot, you're framing it all wrong. Bondi's career is built on her legal expertise. She was Attorney General for 8 years. Highly respected. Elliot scoffed. Respected by who? Corporate donors. The audience chuckled. Madison, the conservative guest, crossed her arms. She'd been waiting for this moment. Elliot, you love acting, like you're the moral compass of America. But let's be real, you pick and choose your villains. Why is it corrupt when Bondi does? Yeah, but not when. And then it happened. Elliot, caught in the heat of the argument, smirked and said the words that would cost him everything. Pam Bondi, please. She's been selling herself to the highest bidder for years. The words hung in the air, heavy and irreversible. The studio went silent for a beat too long. And Elliot, who prided himself on never blinking under pressure, seemed to realize he had stepped over a line. Madison's face tightened. Brian Colton sat back in his chair, his expression unreadable. Madison wasted. No time. Excuse me, she said, her voice sharp. Did you just say what I think you said? Elliot, always quick on his feet, tried to backtrack without actually apologizing. I'm talking about her career, Madison. The way she's played the system, the way she's cozied up to powerful men. That was disgusting. Madison cut them off, her tone ice-cold way. What you want about her politics, but implying she's oh come on. Hoyne. Elliot waved her off. You know exactly what I meant, but the damage was done. The control room knew. The producers in their earpieces knew it. And most importantly, the internet knew it. By the time the segment wrapped, the clips were already making the rounds. Twitter was a battlefield. Conservatives were calling it misogyny in real time. Others argued that Elliot had just spoken the truth, refusing to sugarcoat the realities of power and influence. The network executives didn't even wait until the next morning to act. Backstage, Elliot was barely out of his chair when a producer grabbed his arm. Boss wants to see you. Know. We exhaled sharply, ran a hand through his salt and pepper hair, and followed. He'd been in this game long enough to know when the higher UPS demanded an immediate meeting. It was never good news, but this felt different. He just didn't know how bad it was going to get. Elliot Graves had always thrived in controversy. He knew the game, push the boundaries, ride the outrage, watch the ratings climb. But this time the energy in the room felt different, tighter. He followed the producer through the maze of studio hallways, past camera operators packing up gear, past interns avoiding eye contact. When they reached the executive suite, the door was already open inside. James Halpern, the network's VP of programming, sat behind a sleek glass desk. Arms crossed next to him. Mara Lynn, head of PR, scrolled through her phone with an expression Elliot had seen before. Damage control mode the moment he stepped in. James didn't even look up close. The door, Elliot let out a dry chuckle. No small talk, no great show. Tonight, James finally met his eyes, and for the first time in Elliot's career, there was an ounce of amusement behind them. You have any idea what's happening online right now? Mara turned her screen around, a Twitter thread already at 50. 0 retweets in under an hour. Showed Elliot's exact words, followed by a flurry of angry responses. Some called it blatant sexism, Others claim, Ed, it was a calculated attack on a conservative woman. The headlines were brutal. Prime-time anchor crosses the Lina Network silent Elliot Graves. Sugly smeared too far this time. Pam Bondi controversy, will the network cave or stand by their host Elliot? Let out a sharp exhale. All right, not great, but let's be real, this will blow over, it always does. James shook his head. No, Elliot, this is different. Marlene forward. You accused a woman who, like it or not, has a lot of allies.